Welcome to the Nick Nice Show. As always, I'm your host, Nick Nice, and thank you for joining us on yet another episode of the Nick Nice Show. If this is your first time joining us, what were you thinking? That's none of my business. But anyways, we have a great show lined up for you today. For example, we have a nice interview with Leo Marshall, celebrity photographer, who's going to be talking to us about him and the business. We also have nice videos with the Nice Three, so stay tuned for that. And as usual, we end the show with Said Nicely. But first, we start with the Nice List.
This isn't about me suing the president. What we're talking about here are places where the president is basically rewriting law to make it fit his own needs.
So a few weeks back, I mentioned that John Boehner was going to sue the president, and this week he announced the basis of the suit, right? So basically he's suing the Obama administration because he feels the president took unilateral action by delaying the mandate for employers to allow Obamacare to be implemented as smoothly as possible. Now, on the same principle of it, there's merit there, right? If the president overreaches his authority and does something that he's not empowered to do by the Constitution or the law, then that's worthy of looking into because, we're a democracy and not a monarchy. But also I said that if we're going to go there, then why not go all the way and try to impeach him? To me, this is yet another example of how inept Congress has become, so excuse me if I don't take them that seriously. Some people believe that Congress is the exact opposite of progress, right? Con, pro, and I'm starting to believe them. And at this point, I think we should sue the whole damn system for not doing their jobs. I'm just saying. So the World Cup came to an end when Germany faced Argentina this past Sunday, and I must say, I didn't, watch much of it. Honestly, I'm kind of like, I get into it enough to be able to understand the conversation, but even then I'm like, But I will say that it seemed like more people got into it, and when an event only happens once every 4 years, there seems to be a certain novelty to it that still brings excitement to it, even more than the actual sport. But I started thinking and came up with some ideas of how we can make soccer more appealing in America, right? So first, cut down the time. 90 minutes is way too long. Football has showed us 60 minutes is good enough. Number two, make the field smaller. The grass isn't always greener on the other side, and even if that's not the right metaphor here, you get what I'm saying. Three, more scoring. To make that happen, we need less people, right? And we make the goal bigger. I'm saying 0-0 isn't cutting it over here. We want more scoring. And lastly, they should let them fight like they do in hockey, because maybe that will stop the flopping or even the biting. So to me, if you do those four things, maybe America will embrace soccer and it'll be the fourth best sport in America. You didn't think I was going any higher than that, did you?
Police say the woman, 26-year-old Alex Tickleman, gave him a fatal dose of heroin. A security camera aboard the yacht playing a key role in the investigation.
So Alex Tickleman was charged with the death of a Google exec that was married with kids, but you saw her regularly on the side. And there's a video of her injecting him with what turned out to be heroin, and he eventually dies, right? And it seems like she's really cold-blooded because after he dies, Shorty finishes her drink, calmly walks over him, and keeps it moving. Don't call the police or anything. Now, the thing that gets me is that she could have at least Googled how to deal with the heroin overdose, but she didn't even do that. And did you hear her last name, Tickleman? I'm not making that up. Clearly, the now deceased Google exec is not laughing with Mrs. Tickleman. And come to find out, she may have even been involved with another death in Georgia. Look, I'm not here to judge anyone. Do what you do. I'll just leave you with the words of one of the greatest philosophers of our generation, Antonio Hardy, also known as Big Daddy Kane, when he said, "Anything goes when it comes to hoes, because pimping ain't easy."
All the pain of yesterday, I know my kingdom awaits, and they've forgiven my mistakes. I'm coming home.
Now, last week, the sports world was in a frenzy over where LeBron and Carmelo was going to go via free agency, and it got to be a bit much. To be honest, it kind of felt like the WNBA because much of it was gossip that somebody heard from somebody else. Now, for a second there, watching ESPN was like watching the Gossip Girls. The ironic part to me is, though, like when men speak of sports, we speak of it in manly terms. But when it comes to our favorite teams or even our favorite players, it's not that much different than how women react to their favorite characters on some reality show like The Real Housewives of Atlanta. They're both filled with the same type of drama of what such and such is doing, where they're going, and who they're doing it with. They might as well call this year's free agency the real basketball players of the NBA. All I got was LeBron and Carmelo updates as the world turned. And now that LeBron has decided to go back to Cleveland, one could surmise that he's trying to build a dynasty. Now, I'm not mad at him. You know what I'm saying? He had to do what he had to do because in the end, there's only one life to live. And maybe they can build a legacy over there that'll last several generations. Whatever happened to that show? Anyways, I'm just happy the decision didn't end up turning into a scandal like the last time. Don't go anywhere. We got so much more coming up, including Leo Marshall here on The Nick Nice Show. We'll be right back after this.
The Nick Night Show, sponsored by Hennessy DS. Never stop, never settle.